police department. Where's your emergency one? What's going on? I think someone's in the apartment. It was unlocked, and there's stuff everywhere, and I can't find my boyfriend, and his truck's here. And
The 10th of August, 2023, Zanesville, Ohio, 1:38 p.m. in the afternoon. A woman calls 911 and says she came home to find her apartment ransacked. She can't find her boyfriend. She doesn't know what's going on. The dispatcher tells her to back out, right now.
I need you to back out of that apartment right now. Oh no. I see someone. You out? All units have an active home invasion. 3231 Sandhurst Drive, 3231 Sandhurst Drive. Active home invasion. Okay.
Officers arrived 5 minutes later. They found her on the floor, bleeding from a gunshot wound to her leg. Next to her, a .22 caliber revolver. She said 2 masked men broke in, shot her, and ran. But in the back bedroom, wrapped in trash bags, bound with duct tape from head to toe, concealed under a comforter, was the body of Thomas Waddle. 66 years old, shot once in the back of the head. He had been dead for at least 16 hours before she ever picked up that phone. There were no masked men. There was no home invasion. The woman bleeding on that apartment floor had planned every detail of what you just heard. She had rehearsed it. She had practiced it. And Thomas Waddle, the man she said was the love of her life, never saw it coming. Before we talk about how Thomas Waddle died, you need to know who he was. Tom Waddle spent decades working at Kroger. He was a manager, the kind of man who knew every employee by name, who showed up before he was supposed to and stayed longer than he needed to. When he finally retired, he didn't sit still. He filled his apartment with animals nobody else wanted. Dogs, cats, whatever needed a home, Tom made space for it. He built things with his hands. Woodworking projects lined the shelves of his apartment. Careful, patient work done by a man who took his time with things he cared about. He had been married 5 times. 5, and you might hear that and form an opinion. But people who knew Tom said the opposite of what you'd expect. They didn't describe a difficult man or a troubled one. They described someone who desperately wanted to love and be loved, and who kept trying no matter how many times it didn't work out. By the summer of 2023, he believed he had finally found it. He and Deborah Frazier had met at Kroger, back when she worked there too. There was a 32-year age gap between them. Tom was 66. Deborah was 35. And Tom didn't care about that even a little. They'd been on again, off again for years. But by the summer of 2023, she had moved into his apartment. He paid the bills. They had a joint bank account. He cooked with her. He traveled with her. He told people he had never been happier. When investigators walked through Tom's apartment after his death, they found Valentine's cards. Cookbooks with handwritten notes in the margins. Photos from their trips together, some of them face down on the carpet, torn in half. Somebody had torn them up, right there on the floor. We'll come back to that. Tom Waddle was a good man who gave everything he had to the wrong person. And the woman he gave it to, the woman whose name was on his bank account, who slept in his apartment, who called him the love of her life, was living a life he knew nothing about. Deborah Frazier was originally from Ohio, but before she moved back in with Tom, she had been living in Florida. And Florida is where the other version of her life existed. His name was John Anderson, and Deborah had been in an on-again, off-again relationship with him for 10 years. 10 years. While Tom Waddle believed he was building something real with Deborah. While he was paying the bills and putting her name on his bank account, Deborah was maintaining a completely separate relationship on the other side of town. And she had a story ready to hold it all together. She told John she was a live-in nurse. She told him the older man she lived with, Tom Waddell, was her patient, that he had dementia, that she was just caring for a sick man who depended on her. She told this lie so completely, so consistently, that John Anderson had absolutely no reason to question it. Why would he? He'd known her for a decade. But the double life wasn't just about 2 boyfriends. Deborah had also roped John into her schemes. In the days before Tom's murder, she texted John with a request. She needed him to call Tom and leave a voicemail pretending to be a fraud investigator from PNC Bank, where Tom and Deborah had a joint account. She told John it was to calm Tom down about something related to the account. John did it, because he had no reason not to.
Hello, this message is for Mr. Waddell and Miss Frazier concerning the open case with us. My name is Jonathan with the fraud department. We would like to schedule a phone appointment for tomorrow at 2 p.m. to further discuss and resolve the matter of the account in question. Thank you.
There was no fraud case. There was no open investigation at PNC Bank. What there was a joint account that had been drained down to $2,000. And it wasn't Tom who had been taking the money. But here's the thing about Deborah Frazier, the bank scheme, the two boyfriends, the elaborate lies she fed to both of them for years. That wasn't where the manipulation started. And it wasn't where it ended. Because 2 months before she murdered Thomas Waddle, Deborah Frazier staged a crime. And looking back now, it's impossible not to see it for exactly what it was. It was a rehearsal. June 2023, 2 months before the murder. Deborah Frazier called 911 from a state park in Ohio. She told the dispatcher that a man had attacked her on a walking trail. She said he pushed her to the ground, tried to hurt her, tore her pants. She said she scraped her hands. She said he had a knife.
Hi, I'm in Dillon State Park and someone just tried to attack me. I can try to get to the parking lot, but I don't want anyone to see me like this.
Did you get a good description of the person?
He was wearing a hoodie. I don't really know. He was dark complected. Don't remember much right now.
Okay.
It's really sticking up.
Okay. And what happened?
I was sitting on the bench, looking out at the wall, and he came along and he just threw me on the ground and tried to beat me and tear my pants.
First responders took her to the hospital. Officers tried to verify her story. They asked her how she got to the park.
Can you tell me what happened?
I was out at the park and I was sitting on the bench and I got pushed to the ground and he tried to tore my pants and he tried to hurt himself. I scraped up my hands
I see that.
and there's a scratch on my leg. He had a knife. That's how we got my pants. That's how we forwarded it.
How'd you get out to the park?
I took it.
You took an Uber. Well, do you know what time you got there?
It didn't, but I have the app, and you can look.
Yeah, the history.
Well, I was trying to push him away, and I was kicking, and it almost sounded like someone was coming along the trail, so that might have been what scared him off. But on that trail, you know, an animal could sound like a person coming. So I don't know what finally did it. That would be my guess.
Has anything ever happened to you like this before?
A few years ago,
A few years ago?
I got hurt really bad and had to have it be in the ER for 24 hours while they did tests. And yeah, normally I'm with my boyfriend, but I just wanted to go and have some air, and he was still sleeping, but I woke him up enough to tell him I was going to bed. And then
Are you and your boyfriend getting along okay? Never had an argument today or disagreement? Or you just never wanted to get away from him because he's getting on your nerves? Or
I mean, like today, it was just nice to breathe a little bit, you know, get some fresh air, but I think that's everybody. Everybody needs time. And so
what did he reply?
he wanted to know if any of my friends were with me, a friend of mine named Vivian, and I told him that she wasn't there, and he recently texted asking me if found anything out. Have you ever heard of an app called BetterHelp?
Mm-hmm.
So she's from that app, and so she's like counseling, and so she and I kind of clicked, and we talk a lot. And
Do you have a recent text then? Do you talk a lot?
well, yeah, but I usually clear out my phone when I do.
They called Tom. He said Vivian had picked her up. A woman Deborah described as a friend and counselor she'd connected with through an online therapy app.
So, she met her counselor out there, or her counselor picked her up? Oh, okay. And then they were going to the park? Okay. And do you remember what time she picked her up at? Were you there? A little after 10?
She said she took an Uber, but Tom said it was Vivian who picked her up.
Said that Vivian picked you up.
He misunderstood.
Oh, okay.
He misunderstood. He probably thought that because I told him that I was going to go to the park.
Do you know this Uber driver? Did you know your Uber driver?
No, I never met him before.
When Tom arrived at the hospital, they asked him about Vivian.
Singing Vivian pick her up.
No, she told me Vivian was there.
I guess it's just odd that she told you one thing and
Well, unless I misunderstood.
Okay.
But I can't picture her. Let me check my checking account because there'd be an Uber charge on there, wouldn't there?
Park.
I'm not showing anything Uber on there at all.
Okay.
You ever met Vivian? I have not.
but you spoke to her.
Text.
I kind of called her.
So I've never met.
Would she make a story like this up? For attention, for whatever reason. It's possible.
Because I think there have been some stories in the past before you got together. But, like I said, I care a lot about her. And we've been together for, it'll be a year next month. And we've never had any problems, no fights, no arguments.
Small discrepancy, but detectives noticed. When they dug into Deborah's phone, they found Vivian's contact. They found the text thread between them. Messages going back and forth, plans made, conversations had. And then they found something that stopped them cold. Every single one of Vivian's texts had been sent from a fake phone number. Deborah had been texting herself. There was no Vivian. There was no counselor. There was no friend from the therapy app. There was no woman who had met Deborah at the park. Deborah Frazier had fabricated an entire person, built a text history with them, maintained the fiction for long enough to seem credible, and used this fake person as a supporting witness for a crime that never happened. Investigators noted the discrepancy. They questioned her story, and ultimately, they couldn't definitively prove she'd fabricated the park attack. So they moved on, but they remembered. This wasn't just a strange episode from Deborah's past. This was evidence of a specific skill set. She knew how to call 911 and sound believable. She knew how to construct a false witness. She knew how to present herself as a victim. She had done it before. 2 months later, she did it again. Except this time, Tom Waddle was already dead. But even that, even the fake park attack, even the 2 boyfriends, even the drained bank account, wasn't the first time someone close to Deborah Frazier had turned up dead. February 2021, Florida, a 911 call. A man named David Eugene Grantham was found dead in his home in Florida. He was Deborah Frazier's roommate. Deborah found the body. Deborah called 911. His death was ruled an accidental overdose. Now here is why this matters. When investigators searched Tom Waddle's apartment after his murder, they pulled fingerprints from a television set in the bedroom. Those prints came back to David Grantham, the man who had died 2 years earlier in Florida with Deborah in the next room. Deborah had brought that TV with her when she moved back to Ohio. His prints were still on it. And when detectives ran David Grantham, when they looked into who he was and what had happened to him, they found themselves standing in front of a very uncomfortable question. David Grantham had a criminal record: theft, receiving stolen property. He matched the physical description Deborah had given of the masked intruders in Tom's apartment: white male, roughly the right height. His name was even floated briefly as a potential suspect before detectives confirmed the obvious. He was dead. And the person who found his body, who called 911, who was present in that home when he died, was the same person now being investigated for murdering her boyfriend with a staged crime scene and a fraudulent 911 call. Was David Grantham's death an accident? That's what the official record says: accidental overdose, case closed. But Deborah Frazier has now proven beyond any reasonable doubt that she is capable of staging crime scenes, fabricating witnesses, manipulating 911 dispatchers, and making herself appear to be the victim of violence she herself caused. The Zanesville Police Department has never reopened David Grantham's case. His death remains officially accidental. We may never know the truth about what happened in that Florida apartment in February 2021. Before we get into the night of August 9th and what Deborah actually did, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Hit the bell. We cover cases like this every single week, and this is one of the most disturbing ones we have ever done. Let's keep going. August 9th, 2023, the day before the 911 call. This is the day Deborah Frazier decided to stop planning and start acting. In the days leading up to August 9th, detectives later recovered deleted Google searches from Deborah's phone. She had searched, worst place to get hit on the head. What does .22 ammo look like? How to load a revolver? How to unlock the hammer on a revolver? How to know what ammo your gun uses? Read those searches again and think about what they tell you. She searched worst place to get hit on the head. That means, at some point, her plan was not to shoot Tom. Her plan was to make it look like he'd been beaten. She was researching how to make a blunt force injury appear accidental or inflicted by someone else. At some point, the plan changed. We don't know why. We don't know what made her switch from a blunt force scenario to a shooting. But the searches tell you that this wasn't impulsive. This was a process. She was working through the logistics, adjusting, refining. Tom Waddle's gun was a .22 caliber revolver. It was his, one of 20 firearms he kept in the apartment. Deborah knew exactly where it was. On the evening of August 9th, Tom was in his living room, sitting in his recliner, the way he did most evenings. And Deborah stood behind him. She raised the gun. She aimed it at the back of his head, and she fired once. Thomas Waddle died immediately, a single gunshot wound to the back of the head, execution style. He never saw it coming. He never had a chance. What came next is where Deborah's coldness becomes almost impossible to comprehend. She wrapped Tom's body in a comforter. She got trash bags and duct tape. She wrapped his feet, his legs, his body. She used Velcro straps to drag him across the apartment floor and into the back bedroom. She took his phone. And then, with Tom's body hidden in that back bedroom, she picked up her things and called John Anderson to come pick her up. John picked her up at around 7:30 p.m. He said she seemed upset but refused to talk about it. They drove around the county. At one point, they went to Blackhand Gorge, a hiking area about 20 minutes from the apartment. Deborah asked to be left alone for a while. She walked off by herself. Tom's phone went with her. And at Blackhand Gorge, Tom's phone signal disappeared. Investigators believe Deborah disposed of Tom's phone at that gorge, threw it somewhere into the water, or the trees where it would never be found. She then got back in John's car and spent the night at his place, playing video games, watching TV, acting like nothing had happened. John had no idea. As far as he knew, Deborah was just his girlfriend blowing off steam with a friend, needing a night away from the old man she cared for, the man with dementia. Tom Waddle lay in that back bedroom, wrapped in trash bags for 16 hours, and Deborah slept through the night without issue. The next morning, August 10th, Deborah and John went for a walk at Blackhand Gorge. She was calm. She was present. She showed no visible signs of distress. John dropped her back at the Sandhurst Drive apartment at around 1:30 in the afternoon. Tom's truck was still in the parking lot. She walked inside, and then she got to work. She tossed the apartment, threw things around, pulled drawers open, created the appearance of a ransacked home, a superficial mess designed to look like a frantic search. She tore up photographs of herself and Tom and left them scattered on the carpet. She staged the gun on the floor beside where she planned to be found. And then, in the most chilling part of this entire case, she aimed that same .22 caliber revolver at her own leg and pulled the trigger. She shot herself in the thigh, deliberately, as part of the plan. And while she was bleeding, while she was on the floor of that apartment in real, genuine physical pain, she picked up her phone and called 911.
Police department, where's your emergency? 3231, Sandhurst Drive.
Okay, I can't understand the numbers.
I got Sandhurst. 3231. What's going on? You think someone's in the apartment? It was unlocked and there's stuff everywhere and I can't find my boyfriend and his truck's here. And okay, I need you to back out of that apartment right now. Oh no. I see someone. Are you out? Did you?
All units have an active home invasion. 3231 Sandhurst Drive, 3231 Sandhurst Drive. Active home invasion. Okay. Ma'am.
What? He's what? Not been shot. Okay. You have or he has? I haven't even been able to.
Okay, ma'am. Where did they shoot you at?
In the leg.
In the leg? Are you still there, ma'am?
I can't believe you hurry, but they ran out. Help me. Help me.
How many was there?
There was two. I don't know what happened. I was so confused.
Ma'am, did they have masks on?
Yes. They did when they ran.
Officers arrived to find exactly what Deborah had designed for them to find. A woman, shot, bleeding, hysterical, a ransacked apartment, and in the back bedroom, a body wrapped in trash bags, hidden like she'd never intended them to find it. The performance was almost perfect. Almost. Here's the thing about staged crime scenes. They require you to think of everything, every detail, every piece of evidence, every question a trained investigator is going to ask. And Deborah Frazier, for all her planning, for all her research, for all her rehearsal, left a trail of evidence so damning that investigators knew within hours exactly what had happened. Stay with me, because this is where everything collapses. The Zanesville Police Department was suspicious from the moment they walked through that door. And here's why. Tom Waddle had 20 firearms in that apartment. Not a single one was missing. In virtually every home invasion on record, firearms are the first things taken. They're valuable. They're easy to sell. Any real burglar would have walked out with an armful. Nobody touched them. Officers reviewed security camera footage from every angle around the Sandhurst Drive building. Doorbell cameras, business cameras, seat buses, everything. Not a single person matching Deborah's description of the masked intruders was seen entering or leaving the building. Not in the hours before the 911 call. Not in the hours after. The masked men she described had come and gone like ghosts. Because they didn't exist. The autopsy changed everything. The forensic pathologist determined that Thomas Waddle had been dead for at least 4 hours before 9 p.m. on August 9th, at the latest. That meant he was killed the evening before Deborah's 911 call. Not during the home invasion she described. He had been lying in that bedroom for 16 hours by the time police arrived. Phone records came back. Tom's phone had left the apartment on the night of August 9th, after Tom was already dead. It traveled north with Deborah and John toward Black Hand Gorge, and at the gorge, it went dark. It never pinged again. Deborah's phone had been connected to the apartment's Wi-Fi on the night of August 9th. She was there. She was in that apartment. She had not been in Florida, or with friends, or anywhere else. She was there when Tom was killed, because she was the one who killed him. The forensic results erased any remaining doubt. DNA testing of the trash bags and duct tape wrapping Tom's body came back to 2 people only, Tom and Deborah. The Velcro straps used to drag his body across the apartment floor. Deborah's DNA only. A single glove found in a zipped backpack near the front door tested positive for both Deborah's DNA and gunshot residue. That glove was from the murder, not the staged home invasion. She hadn't had time to hide it properly. And during Tom's autopsy, investigators found something in his hands. Hair, Deborah's hair, found in the duct tape used to wrap his body. And then there were the Google searches. Recovered from her phone's deleted history, entries made in the days and hours before and after the murder. She had searched how long gunshot residue remains on skin at 8:16 a.m. on August 10th, 5 hours before her 911 call, 5 hours before she claimed to have been shot by unknown intruders. Why would someone research GSR removal before they'd supposedly been shot? The answer is they wouldn't, unless they already knew a gun had been fired. And now, the interrogation. The moment investigators laid every piece of this in front of her and watched her story fall apart in real time. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because what comes next is some of the most revealing footage in this entire case.
Some information out of you yesterday about, but everything was so hectic with this, what was going on. We wanted to get you to the hospital to make sure that you didn't suffer any significant injuries.
Day before yesterday, Tom and I were...
So the day before yesterday, we're talking about Wednesday the 9th, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
Because we were waiting on the maintenance guy to change the light out.
Okay.
As soon as he did that, I decided to go take a walk. I asked Tom if he'd mind if I just hung out with a friend for a while, maybe spent the night, just kind of get some fresh air.
Okay.
Because I have trouble with anxiety sometimes, And so sometimes taking walks or just getting out helps, and he's usually really good about that.
Okay.
So I went out for a while, and then I got a hold of my friend Johnny Anderson.
Okay.
And asked him if he wanted to hang out, and we drove around for a while, and then I ended up asking him if I could just spend the night. We played video games, we watched TV. He's an old friend from my early college years.
Now, I know you started this off by saying that you had anxiety on Wednesday the 9th. What did you have anxiety about?
I had been failing my school classes, and I'd been told that I was just getting dropped from the program.
What school you go to?
I do it online. It's called Full Sail University. Yesterday, I had tried to contact Tom. I texted him. I called him. And I never heard back, which was weird because normally he's pretty good about getting back to me.
So you left at 4 to take a little walk, you came back, and then before 4:30 you grabbed your backpack. Okay, that makes sense. But then you never returned after that. So no, you didn't?
No, I didn't.
How was the apartment when you went back to get your backpack?
Everything was fine. There was nothing out of place. Everything seemed to be in order.
Well, what kind of people do you think would do something like this? Why do you think they'd target Tom?
I know he was having issues with his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Who's that?
Callie Burns. He's still technically married, but...
What kind of issues was he having with her?
She was just very... what's the word? She had a lot of anger management issues, and she was cheating on him, so they ended up separating.
Do you think she would be the type of person to do something like this?
But to break in and then shoot me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Detectives interviewed Deborah in her hospital bed while she was still recovering from surgery on her leg. And to give her credit, she was composed. She had her story ready. She had rehearsed this. She described the masked intruders calmly and in detail. A black ski mask, a mossy oak green hoodie, roughly 5'5" or 5'6". She described the scuffle, the gun going off. She was convincing, until detectives told her they were going to test her hands for gunshot residue.
What did the gun look like?
I think it was dart, from what I remember.
Was it a semi-automatic or a revolver? Could you tell the difference?
It was like a Clint Eastwood gun.
Okay.
I just tried to keep the gun away from me.
How did you do that?
I grabbed a hold of it and I was trying to point it away from me because I didn't want to get shot and I was scared.
How did you grab a hold of it?
From what I remember, I grabbed it at the bottom and I grabbed it around the whatever you call the long piece.
Did you do it with each hand? So which hand of yours touched the gun? Both?
Yeah, this one touched where you hold it.
Mm-hmm. So you touched the handle?
Yeah.
What about your left hand?
It touched whatever that long piece is.
The barrel?
Where the thing spins.
Oh, the cylinder?
I don't know how.
Like you're saying the things. I know what you're talking about. The round part where the bullets are at?
Right.
Can you describe the suspects to me?
The one I got a good look at, he had a black ski mask on. I could tell through the eye hole he was white, and he had a mossy oak green hoodie.
Okay.
And jeans, from what I could tell. The other guy I didn't get a good look at.
What are the other? What? As far as that first guy we're talking about here, was he a tall, short, heavy set, skinny? Can you describe his description?
He was probably a little taller than I am.
How tall are you?
5'3", 5'4".
Okay. So, I think he's 5'5", 5'6".
I guess he wasn't as tall as Tom, and Tom's 6'5".
Okay.
And he was built. I mean, I could tell he had muscles, but other than that,
Where did he have the gun? That's what I meant.
he had it in his hand when he came towards me. That's how,
Do you remember which hand?
right? I grabbed a hold of it and I was trying to point it away from me because I didn't want to get shot and I was scared.
Whenever we catch these people, what do you think should happen to them?
I think they should pay for the crime. I mean, I didn't do anything to anyone to deserve to be shot, and I don't know why anyone would tear up another person's place like that.
I mean, what punishment do you think that they should receive? I mean, that's what we try to gauge. So when we let the prosecutor's office know on how you feel on what do you think should happen, you know, that lets them know up front
Well, I
what
don't.
they need to aim for. I mean, you think they should spend life in prison? Think they should be sentenced to death? I mean, anything like that?
I don't know how Tom feels about it, but I feel that they should at least go to jail for a long time. Shooting someone, I could have been killed.
When was the last time you ever fired a gun?
Last time I ever fired a gun, when I was wrestling, trying to get the gun pointed away from me, I had a hold of it when it went off.
Okay. Prior to that, when would be the last time before that?
Before that, I had never fired a gun, like loaded and everything, because I know nothing about them. I couldn't load one if you set everything in front of me. Tom was trying to teach me about gun safety and all that, just in case, self-defense and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he showed me how to load like one of his pistols.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but I don't remember exactly what.
But you've never shot a gun before, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
She hadn't mentioned grabbing the gun in her first interview. Not once. The moment they announced they were testing for GSR, suddenly she had touched the weapon, touched the handle, touched the barrel, grabbed it during the struggle. It was a clever play. If your hands have gunshot residue and you're guilty, you need an explanation for how it got there. A struggle for the gun is a clean explanation. Except detectives had already heard her original version. And the change in story told them everything they needed to know.
Well, what do you think happened to Tom?
I honestly don't know. I even tried calling today.
Did you walk in the back bedroom?
No, they came out before I could even make it back there. Why?
Okay. Well, Tom was shot and killed.
Dead.
No.
Who do you think killed him? Let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask you to be 100% honest with me. Did you have something to do with his death?
No.
Okay. So let me explain this to you, Deborah. And I'm going to be as straight as possible. I've probably been a cop now for about 20 years. This isn't the first murder investigation that I've ever handled. It's not going to be the last. When we start our investigation, we look at every angle. We look into every possible situation, possible scenario, and everything that you tell us, we go and follow up with. On the night of Wednesday, something happened. I don't know exactly what happened in that apartment between you and Tom, but I know that you're the one that's responsible for his death.
I'm not.
Why are you searching? How long does gunshot residue stay on my hands? Yesterday morning at 8 in the morning.
I'm
Listen,
not.
you did.
I didn't.
She had no answer.
Debbie's search records. How long does GSR stay on skin? Yesterday morning at 8:16 in the morning. Lake County, Florida court records, Muskegon County court records. I'm telling you, we already know the questions to that, or the answers to the questions we're asking you. Here's your chance to get your side of the story out. If there was something going on that caused this, you need to tell us right now. But you have more knowledge than what you're saying. There was no home invasion robbery. Okay? There was absolutely none. So you've already locked yourself into the biggest lie. Here's your chance to unwind it and tell the truth. Because you only have one shot at this. And here's your shot to tell us what really happened. We know that you were involved. You shot him with the 22.
I didn't.
Yes, you did, right in the top of the head.
I didn't.
Okay. Is any of your DNA going to be on that duct tape that wrapped him up? On the plastic bags?
I've handled the duct tape, but I didn't wrap.
No, I'm talking about the ones that wrapped him up. Listen. We're beyond I don't know. Right now, another detective is looking into some other stuff right now. So what is old boy going to say? What's Johnny Anderson going to say? Is his story going to match yours? If you didn't shoot him, who did? Because you know.
I don't know.
Why are you searching? Is there GSR? How do I get GSR off my hands? How long does it stay on my skin? Why did you search that? Why did you search it? Tell me. Give me a good explanation on why you searched 5 hours before this robbery ever happened when you never shot a gun before. Why are you searching? How long does GSR stay on my skin? You tell me that. And an I don't know answer is not good enough. Listen,
Didn't.
you know when you call 911, we record the calls. You're the only person in that apartment. The audio gets enhanced. We can tell if people are running out and struggling. We look at cameras in the neighborhood. There's nothing. Your story is so far bogus. If something happened in that apartment, you need to tell us now. You can't even explain why you have those search history in your phone. How do you think that makes what do you think that makes us think? Stand in my shoes here for a second. How's that look on you?
Bad.
Why does it look bad?
Because you think that I looked stuff up so I could get away with something.
Okay. And why does that look bad?
Because you think I killed Tom.
Okay. There's no motivation for anyone to kill Tom.
No.
Other than you and all your Valentine's Day cards ripped up of you and him. Did he break up with you again?
No.
Was he going to go back with his wife?
Not that I'm aware of.
She tried a new angle. She told investigators the gun searches, the ammo searches, the GSR searches had nothing to do with Tom. She said she had been researching those things because she was suicidal, because she was planning to hurt herself, not him.
When I left Tom, I wanted to kill myself because I've been suicidal for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And it had nothing to do with him. It just had to do with the fact that I had been dealing with those issues for quite some time.
Okay.
In 2020, I tried to kill myself in Tennessee.
Okay.
But I wanted to die.
It's tough.
All right?
Things are tough, yeah. Especially when you're in that state of mind.
And I'm constantly in that state of mind. But anything I looked up in regards to that was so I was setting up for my suicide.
Do you really think that anybody would believe that? Honestly. Like you're just digging your hole deeper, girl. You really are. You have a one chance to come clean and act like you're a little bit remorseful. I don't see any remorse, do you?
So why would you care if your hands have GSR on them if you're dead?
I care about him.
Nate, you don't sit here and tell me you care about him.
I do.
You don't care about him. If you can do what you did to him and then cover it up and then try to wrap him up and then sit here and not be accountable for what you know about what happened, it's like that's like pretty bad. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Like, I've talked to killers before. I've talked to straight up people that shot several people. They at least had the balls to own it. And you don't.
I didn't kill him. Why would I go all the way back from Florida up here just to do something horrible.
Why would anybody else do anything horrible to him? There's absolutely no reason.
He's a great guy.
Hmm?
You said I could talk to an attorney.
Yeah. You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
She had run out of explanations.
Charging you with murder, which is a unclassified felony where you spend life in prison. Felonious assault, which is F2. Tampering with evidence. Gun specs, which is mandatory time on top of any conviction. So you'll get life plus whatever gun spec time. Domestic violence, and your bond's going to be $2 million. Any other questions for us? All right. Enjoy your stay here.
On March 18th, 2024, 7 months after Thomas Waddle was found wrapped in trash bags in the back bedroom of his own apartment, Deborah Lynn Frazier appeared before Common Pleas Judge Mark C. Flegel. She pleaded guilty, murder with a firearm specification, tampering with evidence, gross abuse of a corpse. She was sentenced to life in prison. Her first parole hearing is scheduled for 2047, nearly a quarter century from now. Assistant Prosecuting Attorney John Little said this after the plea. Frazier deserves and will serve a life sentence for her crime. This plea allows her to accept responsibility and eliminates the risks associated with a trial on the horrific and tabloid-esque facts of this case. Deborah Frazier is currently serving her sentence at the Ohio Reformatory for Women. She will be in her late 70s before she is eligible to ask for her freedom. Thomas Waddle was 66 years old. He rescued animals. He built things with his hands. He worked for decades at a job he cared about. He loved 5 women and kept believing love was worth trying for, no matter how many times it didn't work out. He opened his home to Deborah Frazier, put her name on his bank account, tried to teach her how to stay safe with a firearm, and she used that firearm to shoot him in the back of the head while he sat in his recliner. If you made it this far, thank you for being here. Drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. If this case affected you, tell us why. Subscribe, hit the bell, and we will see you in the next one.